Welcome ninjas to the ST League pre-game show. The ST League, or the Sibling Tester League, will be a series of games that my brother and I will be playing for Ninja All-Stars to test it out. I don't know how many games it will go, but before each game I'll do this small pre-game show to first tell you what the mission is, or the scenario, or the challenge, and then second, to introduce our teams so that you guys can get a better idea of what we're bringing to the table, so that once we start playing, you guys can just be on top of that and we don't have to stop, and it can just be all about the gameplay, round after round. So our first game here, we're going to be playing Infiltration, and that means we're both trying to steal medals out from under the nose, or noses, of the sentries. So the way that we set this up is that we'll have these medal tokens diagonally across the field symmetrically. So one is closer to the bottom left of my brother, and the other is closer in the same manner bottom left to me, on opposite sides of the board. And then a single sentry will be guarding each, and we'll both start the game with stealth. The goal of the challenge is to pick up the medal to score 1 point. And when you're carrying the medal and you move on to your deployment space, you score and get 2 points. The sentries, however, are trying to stop us. Sentries can move adjacent to a medal that isn't currently being carried, and that medal is returned back to the goal space. If you know how sentries act, basically one sentry will activate after my brother and I have activated. To determine who activates it and who gets to make decisions for it, we'll be rolling a opposed attribute test, and whoever wins gets to make the decisions. Typically though, sentries behave in a very specific manner, so we don't get a lot of choice as far as that is concerned, but we do get to make decisions when it comes to attacking and other things like that, as far as what result is being carried out. So these sentries don't spend actions to pick up the medals in the same manner that the players don't, but sentries must also attempt to retrieve a medal if they have line of sight to the medal and the medal is closer to the sentry than a player model. If a sentry retrieves the medal, then it may continue moving and uses action to attack a model as normal, and a team with the most points at the end of the challenge wins. And the challenge length is 8 rounds. The way that we pick up the medal is by spending a single movement point to pick it up under our model, and of course if that model is injured while carrying the token, it will drop it within the space that it was on. In this challenge we can get additional XP rewards when we pick up the medal. That's 1 XP, and if we take it to our goal, that's 3 XP. So we're getting 4 XP on top of 3 points if we can successfully pick up and deliver the medal. So now let's talk about our teams. I'm going with the clan Yamazaru Drunken Monkeys. My clan consists of 1 Chunin, movement 4, attack 4, defense 4, keywords close combat master and earth mastery, and I chose the ability backflip, which means before he moves, I may move it to an empty space in its back influence zone. It automatically succeeds any required dodge rolls, and it can move on to any terrain type that it would normally move to. I also have 2 Kaikens, movement 5, attack 3, defense 3, because that is the minimum number of Kaiken that I must bring. And I also have 2 Yajiri, movement 5, attack 1, defense 1, but they have a range 5 ability that gives it +1 attack and stealthy. So that means that I can make that range attack from stealth without losing it. I've also got 2 Kunoichi, movement 7, attack 2, defense 2. Kunoichis are nimble, which means that they can reroll dodge tests. And I also decided to bring a Ronin. I decided to bring Shoujo, movement 6, attack 2, defense 2. But she's a close combat master, nimble, has redirection, resilient, and of course is classified as a Ronin. For those that don't know, close combat master means that that model may reroll one of its dice when making a combat roll. Nimble means that it can reroll its dice when making a dodge roll. Redirection means that if I'm targeted by a ranged attack, I can make an affinity test, and if that test is successful, I can pick another friendly or enemy model within range of the attacker as a new target. Unfortunately, my brother did not bring any ranged attackers to this game, but perhaps it might come into effect in later games. She's resilient, which means that when they're injured or stunned, you roll a dice. and if the model's affinities are rolled, it gets downgraded, so injured becomes a stun and stun becomes nothing. But she also has 2 special abilities. Yaparai, which means at the beginning of each round, I choose attack or defense. Then I get +2 to the Tojin attribute until the end of the round, so I can give her 4 attack or 4 defense. And she's also a shrewd negotiator, meaning that if she's in the healing house at the end of the game, her team will make 2 additional Koban. Although the best thing about her, which makes all of her abilities kind of better, is that she has the water and earth affinity. So for example, when rolling for resilient, I have a 1 out of 3 shot to roll her attributes because she has 2. On other tests though, I'll have to pick earth or water, so it doesn't help me all the time. But for that specific example, it does. My brother went with Clan Ijin, and he's the purple pandas. His team consists of 1 Chunin, 5 movement, 4 attack, 3 defense. He's also a close combat master and a void mastery. And he chose the ability Tyrant, meaning that friendly models within 4 spaces of him get +1 attack if they make an attack. However, every friendly model within that area attacks an enemy model and doesn't injure it, he stuns himself. He also has a Madoshi, who's a void master. And the ability he chose is Skull Hex, which means that the Madoshi may use its action to make an affinity test. If the test is successful, he chooses an enemy model within 6 spaces, and that chosen model and any enemy in its influence zone gets -1 defense to a minimum of 1 until the end of the round. My brother also has 2 Kaikens, movement 5, attack 3, defense 3, a Kunoichi, movement 7, attack 2, defense 1, with backstab and nimble, backstab giving it an extra 2 dice when attacking in the rear arc, making it 4 attack. My brother's also brought in a hero, Boom-chan, movement 7, attack 3, defense 2. She also has backstab, she's a hero, she has Ijin's horns, meaning that if she moves more than 3 spaces, she gets +1 to her attack. She's nimble, and she's also resilient. And she has a special ability, Whirlwind, meaning that she can use her action to attack every model in her influence zone. Resolve the attack against each model completely before attacking the next model. If Boom-chan chooses Void, then the target is stunned instead of injured. If Boom-chan is injured or gets stunned, then she stops attacking and does not continue to a new target. 1 Chunin, 1 Madoshi, 2 Kaiken, 2 Kunoichi, and Boom-chan brings his total up to 2, 4, 6, 7 models. So if any of them are out of the game for more than a game or 2, it could prove future games to be significantly harder for him. Whereas my count is 8, 1 Chunin, 2 Kaiken, 2 Yujiri, and 2 Kunoichi, as well as Shoujo, meaning that I'll have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to my future games. However, we don't know exactly how League play is going to work, whether or not the teams that we've picked will really stay consistent, who gets upgraded, who gets tossed to the wayside, etc, etc. But I hope you stay tuned when we finally start the game. Each video will consist of a single round, ranging anywhere between 10 and 25 minutes, and I'll definitely be putting out rounds 1 and 2 closer together than the other ones, because the first round of each game always consists of us kind of setting ourselves up first. Not a lot of action happens, but once round 2 starts, that's when the attacks start getting made, definitely, where we're constantly in each other's faces each round. So I hope you're excited for our first game of Ninja All-Stars, using League rules, in the Sibling Tester League. Thanks for watching.